welcome to our in-camera interview with the delightful Lady Gaga.
Hello, Alex.
Hi. We only have 2 hours with you today, as you're off to the
Only
O2.
2 hours?
Only 2 hours, and we got a lot of questions.
How are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I think we're going to dive straight in, and the first question that we have is from myself, Alexander Fury in London. ShowSTUDIO.com is a fashion website, first and foremost. Lady Gaga, we've asked you to be the 9th participant in our series of in-camera interviews because more than any other contemporary musician, your work feels inextricably connected to fashion. What function does fashion serve for you? Do you use it to underline your musical themes, or is it another outlet for a different type of creative expression?
Well, it's all of the above, but I think more importantly on a cultural level, I feel that music and fashion have always mirrored one another. There's a creative consciousness, a trend that is part of the zeitgeist in the way that people think about art and colors and patterns, and music and fashion, music and visuals they're connected in that way. I guess I could say that they come from a similar vocabulary. So I guess I could just say that they cannot be separate. I need fashion for my music, and I need music for my fashion.
Well,
You're a very fast typer.
Thank you. I'm going to read it back to you and just make sure that I've got the gist of it, and if there's anything that
Oh, no,
I've
you don't
missed.
have to read it back.
Okay.
No, I trust you. Let's go.
Okay,
It's
just a second.
live.
So we're ending it with I need fashion for my music and I need music for my fashion.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Am I wonky? Ruthie, I love you. Don't talk to me, Gaga. It's live.
Just moving on to our second question now. As I said to you just before the interview started, we received 25,000 questions.
So
from your
many
fans.
little monsters. Thank you for all your submissions.
And I read through the 25,000 questions for
And
you.
thank you.
And whittled it down as best I could. This question is probably the one that we were most asked throughout the questioning process. And in this instance, it's been asked by Ricky White from New York,
Hello.
Laura Bowery from Merseyside, Alexander Gray from Massachusetts, Ali Johnson from Columbus, Lorna Lee from Portsmouth, Sunny from France, Tudor from Romania, Marie-Helene from Canada,
So wonderful.
Alana from Sanatana, Ori Akers from Arkansas, Tondo from Slovakia, and I'm sure many others that I have regrettably missed, I'm very sorry. But the way that Ricky White phrases it is, you are such an inspiration from what you wear to how you sing, but where do you get your inspiration from?
From capital H-I-M. I think there's two different kinds of artists. There's people that need to be plugged in to perhaps a cultural movement in music, or a movement in fashion, or a movement in the latest fishing techniques. But I think for some of us, and I would perhaps say the same about my very good friend Nick Knight, who I love so much, but for some of us, it's a much more innate gift. It's a much more spiritual experience. We don't necessarily have to be plugged in to a particular movement in order to be a part of it. It's transcendent. It's an inspiration that is that we're born with. And to be perfectly honest, I would say right now my biggest inspiration is my fans. I feel like they subconsciously transmit all of their freedom and their love and their joy into me through the show, through my communication with them. It's almost like we have our own little spiritual connection that's completely separate from anything else. I wish you didn't have to type this. Does he have to type it?
I think that's fab.
Okay.
It's quite nice because the idea is sort of if someone comes, just to go as an aside, if someone comes in halfway through the interview, although I know we've had some tweets that people have been staying up and it's 4 in the morning where they are and they've stayed up to watch this. But if anyone, for whatever reason, comes in halfway through, they can see how you've answered so far.
Oh.
And then later on they can see the on-demand footage, which we'll have
Great.
very soon.
Great.
I'm just checking my spelling because it's absolutely frightful. I couldn't even spell Nick Knight, which is reprehensible.
Which is
reprehensible.
You should be spanked. Well, how do you say it in London? Flogged.
Flogged.
You should be flogged.
We should say that to Ruth. I'm sure Ruth would enjoy that.
Flogging. It's like the bum film.
It is.
For anyone that's wondering, Ruth is the impossibly beautiful woman that's filming us right now.
Impossibly beautiful and very talented.
And
just
very
like your good
talented.
Self. Okay, we're on to question 3 now. Question 3 is from Midheeb Nick Nuardhit, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, who's in Ireland. Did Rainer Maria Rilke's theory that artists should not accept criticism help you stay determined when you were starting out?
Yes, I love Rilke. It's no secret that I live my life in almost utter submission and loyalty to Rilke. I think it's important to be able to be objective about your own work, and I also think it's important, what I've learned through my love of Warhol, also to empower the people around you to feed your creativity. Criticism can be wonderful if you have a very strong sense about what you're creating. If you have an incessant need for validation from an outside place that is not yourself, that's when criticism can be not just detrimental, but completely life-changing to your work. You don't want the world to dictate what you create. You want to be a fuse, a funnel. It has to always come from you. So yes, in short, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. Except for Nick Knight. Nick Knight is God.
I definitely want to get, in short, I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. And it kind of answers our next question, I think.
Okay.
But I will ask you the next question anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is from Jessica Hebert in Lafayette, and also from Heather Hunter in Virginia. Do you find it difficult to deal with negative criticism in the media?
No. It can always be personal, because my work is personal. But you have to so truthfully believe in yourself and what you're doing, and you have to almost refuse criticism and negativity like a bad heart. The wrong organ was given to you during a transplant.
You've got to reject it.
You must reject it.
It's a lovely analogy.
I like morbid surgical analogies.
Okay. Our 5th question is from Perez Hilton in Los Angeles. Your Little Monsters know that when you began your career in New York City, the music you were making and playing was sonically very different from the music you make now. What was the shift for you? Why did you decide to start making dance music?
Well, I started out when I was really young. So I was playing classical music when I was 4. And when I turned about 11, that's when I started to write pop music.